What's happening, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for choosing us again. You're very much appreciated. I appreciate you. I see you guys like the videos, documentaries. You liked very much the exposure we had with the lady with 44 children. I see a lot of traction on that.
Mama Mariam with all the children. Hello, Mama. How are you? Ooh, nice to meet you.
I see a lot of traction on the video about Kenya. New Year's Eve, you're still liking it. I see a lot of people watching the video about Naisna. I see you loving that. Do you like these type of videos? Let me know. I really am curious to know. I don't want to be feeding somebody sugary food if they like savory food. So you can't give somebody that likes salty food sweet food. Okay, so I want to give you things that you like. So I want to know. Okay, let me know which ones do you like. Okay, but this is very important. This is geopolitics. We're going to talk about Russia, and I know we mostly are Africans or African descent people watching this channel, but I think this is very crucial for us to know, because then we understand geopolitics of the world. Why are we where we are? Where are we going? In order to understand where you're going, you need to understand where you were and where you are. Okay, great. So Vladimir Putin of Russia, I know a lot of you love him very much, has won the election again. For term number 5, yes, 5 times. He's going to be president 5 times. More than Stalin. Yes, that's crazy, yeah? 5 times president of the country. Absolutely insane. Many people didn't think it was possible. Many people believe the elections are rigged. Who are we to judge? I mean, in America, for the last time, Trump against Biden, many people believed it was rigged. Trump still believes he was robbed. Okay, so it's very easy to judge and point fingers and say, well, this is not democratic. Donald Trump will tell you that wasn't democratic in America. So who's telling the truth? Who's lying? We don't know. Now, many people are not happy about that. The question is, do you necessarily have to be president one time and run the election through a democratic procedure and let somebody else be president? Or does it hurt people that you are president numerous times at a time? I don't know. Is it bad that you can be president many times? It's a good question. Well, I got something for you. There is the president Gaddafi of Libya, who was not necessarily democratic. Okay, they call him dictator, but Gaddafi had done tremendous things for his country. I know you've heard of Gaddafi, perhaps, if you're American or Caribbean, if you're not necessarily from Africa. And even some people from Africa have heard of Gaddafi in a very dark light. You've never really heard of good things that Gaddafi did. Gaddafi was a president that allowed his people to get things for free from the government. Like, the government will sell oil because Libya had so much oil, but every Libyan will get every month a portion of the winnings of the oil. Did you get that? So the country is so wealthy, so rich, they have so much oil. They sell oil, but at the end of the month, they give every Libyan something in his bank account because the country has got so much oil. Unlike many African countries, many other countries, that has a lot of riches, but only the rich benefit from it. Only the people in power and government get it. Only the people that get tenders from government get it, not the normal human beings. Gaddafi allowed people to have that. Gaddafi created an environment in his country where if a man marries a woman and they become a family, they're going to get a free apartment and $5,000. You know what I mean? Gaddafi was not a democratic president. He was very much like what you call Vladimir Putin, but allowed his people, every time they needed treatment, to go to hospital for free in the country. So hospital was for free. And if you were very, very sick, and you needed treatment from a different country, the government will supply you with the funding so you can go to whichever country you need to go to, so you can get the treatment that you deserve, free of charge. And they will pay for your family member to go with you. Okay, so that was not a democratic country, even though they try to make him look like the devil, saying that he was trying to kill his own people so they can come and destroy. Some experts believe they did that so they could teach the world a lesson. What was the lesson? The lesson was the world should not know or understand that there's another style of ruling a country successfully besides what they call democracy. But Libya was not a democracy. In Libya, you could become a farmer, you could do agriculture. Government will give you tools, tractors, trainers, coach to teach you how to do it. And You pay when you want to pay back. That was Gaddafi. He was not a democratically elected president. Very close to Russian president. I'm not saying the Russian president is equal to Gaddafi. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, who says you have to be in term one time to be a good president? That's a good question. Now, Russian president was very adamant. As soon as he got re-elected, he sent a very strong message to the West. They asked him a few questions and he responded.
Je pense que tout est possible dans le monde moderne. Mais je l'ai déjà dit, et il est clair pour tout le monde que ce conflit entre la Russie et l'OTAN ne sera qu'un pas vers une troisième guerre mondiale à grande échelle. Je ne pense pas que cela intéresse qui que ce soit. Les militaires de l'OTAN sont présents en Ukraine, nous le savons. On entend parler français et anglais sur place. Il n'y a rien de bon là-dedans. D'abord pour eux parce qu'ils se font tuer et en grand nombre. Je ne suis pas au courant de cette déclaration du président français. Mais nous sommes prêts à discuter de n'importe quelle question et comme toujours dans chaque situation, nous partirons des intérêts de la Fédération de Russie et bien sûr de la situation sur la ligne de front.
So you can clearly say and hear that they're asking him, how do you feel about the West? And he says they're ready. Okay? Russia's ready to whatever they have to bring. Okay? And here you can hear him say very clearly about the president of France, saying the president of France is making a mistake. This is a very soft way of saying he's making a mistake. Now, why is the president of France very angry? And I think we spoke about this before. Why is he angry now?
We have limited our vocabulary too much. We are not escalating things. We are not at war with Russia, but we must not let Russia win either.
Because if you look at the past, when the West and Russia was in trouble, the president of France went to Russia to discuss with the Russian president. Even though they sat in a room where there was a massive table between them. It was a big table separating Russian president and the French president. My question is, why would you use such a massive table to keep up, to separate you? Clearly, I don't know, maybe he was afraid that the president of France would poison him or something. I don't know. I mean, Russian president, don't forget, he's a member of KGB. And KGB is one of the most advanced intelligence groups in the world. So he's very preventive. As compared to how he acted with African president when they went to Russia to discuss Ukraine. He was hugging and touching and, with African president. He didn't do the same with the French president. So the question is, why was the French president happy or willing to go discuss with Russia in the beginning? But now he's very strong. He wants to send troops in NATO and Ukraine. Is there something wrong? The response is very clear. Many experts believe it's because Russia has gotten so much land, so much presence in Africa. In countries where France used to be ruling, ex-colonies of France. We're talking Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. These countries were colonies of France. Okay? And after colonialism, or what you call it colonialism, France still was very active in these countries. Now these countries have kicked out the French people. They don't want them anymore. They don't want their economy. They don't want their money. They don't want their military. But the Russians have come in. So those are the international interests of France are being touched. Therefore, the French people are not happy about that. But then Putin said very clearly, he said he knows. They know that NATO soldiers are in Ukraine. It's not news because they hear French being spoken in English. But the problem is they're being killed. This man is sarcastic. He said they're being killed in mass. They're being destroyed. So in other words, he's saying there's nothing new they can bring because they're already in Ukraine right now. We're not threatened by them coming because they are already in Ukraine. They're being killed like potatoes. He didn't say potatoes. Anyway, Africa always like to, make things bigger than they are. Africans know. Make it sound good. We speak with special effect. Like yo, those are special effects in African languages. Anyway. Is it wrong that the Russian president is going to run for the first time as a president? Is it morally wrong? Or is it okay because if it makes sense to the Russian people who clearly voted him for number 5 times, we should let him be? Should we just have a president for 1 or 2 terms because it suits democracy? Or can we have one president who's running the country in a good way, in a way that's sustainable for everybody? It can never be everybody, but sustainable for most people, and we like him. Do we have the right to have a country like that? Or do we all have to comply with Western way of life, Western way of thinking, Western way of being? When you have a world where some people are very strong and other people are very weak, what usually happens? The strong persecute the weak. Most of the time. This is valid even in classes. When you have a young student that's stronger than everybody else, everybody's petrified, everybody's scared of him. Until you get another student who's just as strong as him or nearly as strong. Then he starts questioning his own decisions. Then he doesn't act like a foolish conqueror anymore because he knows somebody can resist to him. Does America or the West needs Russia in order to stabilize the world, in order to have a stable power system? Because if there is no Russia, then who's going to stop them when they make mistakes? Like they made mistakes, of course, in Iraq. Okay, they admitted making mistake when they said we're going to Iraq to destroy because we heard there are weapons of mass destruction. After being there, Tony Blair and Bush acknowledged that there was no weapons of mass destruction. So what was the trip about? What was the war about? Don't you think the world needs a Russia as strong as it is with a president like Putin so that people can think twice before they do catastrophe and say sorry later on? Let me know how you feel about this. It's always a great pleasure. God bless.